Hi, good morning everybody. So here, after a long break, or we are going to break the long gap. And 2 months back, 2 or 3 months back, we studied the first chapter in chemistry, a small portion of the first chapter in chemistry. This matter in our surroundings. Matter in our surroundings. Okay, our first chapter, matter in our surroundings. Matter in our surroundings. And the first portion, I think you already studied. Matter. First of all, what's that matter? Matter. The matter exists in 3 different forms: solid form, liquid form, and gaseous form. But we know. But somebody asked you, what is that matter? What you can give? Matter. Matter is, suppose, the stock piece. It's a matter material. Now we have to define what is that matter. Matter means anything or any substance which possesses mass and volume. Which possesses mass and volume. Mass and volume. Or you can use space. Instead of that volume, you can use space. Space means the area occupied by a substance. So matter material or matter means any substance which possesses mass and volume. That substance are called what? Matter. So in the ancient time onwards, there were so many experiments. Simple experiment they conducted to know the nature of properties of matter particle. In our ancient time, it was believed that all the materials, that means living or non-living things, they are made up of 5 things or 5 particles. It's not you. It is air, earth, sky, fire, and water. That theory, it was known as Panchatattva. Panchatattva. And in the modern times, that theory was changed. The study of matter particles is now, it is based on the chemical and physical properties of matter. Chemical and physical properties of matter. So, what is the physical properties first? Physical properties. Physical properties first. As we said, all matter particles are made up of minute particles. Whether they were solid, liquid, gas, they are made of particles. So, the first property, physical property, that means in between the particles of a matter material, there are a little space, some space in between them. Space between particles. First of all, you know, all these matter materials are made of what? Particles. Particles. For particular nature of matter. Secondly, all the matter, in all the matter materials, there exists a space in between the particles. space in between particles. Now we have to check it. How? Now it can be done with the activity 1.1 in your page, in page number 1. Activity 1.1. There you are asked to take a glass of water and into it you are asked to add a little amount of salt or sugar. Salt or sugar. So, glass of water. They are asked to add a little amount of salt or sugar. And keep it for some time in an undisturbed manner. But you can see later, the added salt, you can't see the added salt after some time. Why? Because all the salt form particles are dissolved in water. Dissolved in water. So, how they dissolve? That means there exists a space between particles. So, salt are minute particles. That particles go into the space between the liquid particles. Or they occupy the space in between the liquid particles. So, it is clear that there exists space in between particles. In every matter form, there exists space between particles. Now, look into your second activity. Second activity. There you are asked to take little amount of potassium permanganate in 100 ml of water. Again one solution. Potassium permanganate, that is KMNO4. Potassium permanganate. So in a beaker you can take 100 ml of water. It's water. Into it add a little amount of this one, KMNO4, potassium permanganate. So there you get a violet colored solution. Violet colored solution. And take 10 ml from this 100 ml. 10 ml of KMNO4 solution. KMNO4 solution into another beaker that contains 90 ml of water. 90 ml of water. So there also you get what? 100 ml solution. 100 ml solution. And so on. Again, take 10 ml again from here. Then add into another beaker containing 90 ml of water. 90 ml of water. So in the first case you get a violet colored solution. Second case still it is that color but somewhat dim in color. And the last case still violet color persists but very dim, in very dim manner. So, in all these solutions, violet color exists, but the concentration of that violet color getting decreased. What does it mean? A little amount of KMNO4 salt can color a large amount of water. Because the particular size or the particles are so small, very small in nature. So the particles are very small. Small particles. So here is studied matter contain particles or matter is made of particles and these particles are very small in nature. That is beyond our imagination. These particles are so small. or very small, and they are very small beyond our imagination. So next we have to study characteristics of particles of matter. Characteristics of particles of matter. The first property that is studied, that means there exists a space in between the particles of matter. We studied in the case of that sugar solution. When sugar or salt is dissolved in water, they completely dissolved in water, because there exists space between water particle, and inside the water particle, the solute particle means salt or sugar particles are within the water molecule. So, in particles of matter, there exists space between them. This is the first characteristics of particles of matter. And secondly, these particles are continuously moving. Continuously moving. First one, there exists space between particles. Secondly, these particles of matter are continuously moving. Now look on the activity 1.3, 1.4 and 1.5. Now take the first one, for example. So you are asked to light an incense stick. Incense stick. And you are asked to place, or you are asked to stand the next row. So here there is an incense stick, it's in the lighted form. Now you are at the next row. But after some time, you can experience the smell of the incense stick. Even though you are far away from the stick, you can experience the smell, or you get the smell. What's the reason? Because here there are some particles which causes the smell. That particles move through air medium, and reach the destination. That means in your nose. So the particles can move from one point to another. Okay. One point to another, these particles can move from one point to another. Or you can say they are continuously moving from one place to another. Now take the second example, activity 1.4. There you are asked to take a glass of water, and you can drop one or two drops of blue ink. Indeed, you can add blue ink into it. So what happens? This blue ink will spread all over the liquid medium or water medium. So again, this blue is a pigment. This possesses some particles. These particles will move all over the gaps in between the water particles, or they are continuously moving. Okay. And one more example is there. Copper sulfate solution. You get add some copper sulfate. Copper sulfate is CuSO4 into water. This water. So here you get a blue solution. Because of copper sulfate, water gets blue color. Okay. So all these experiments shows the particles move in a fast manner, or they can continuously move from one place to another. That is the second property of matter. Okay. And now you look. In these cases, or in the first case also, the particles move in different media. The first one, the particles move through the First of all, air medium. Secondly, through a liquid medium. Air medium and liquid medium. So the continuous moving of particles is called the diffusion process. Diffusion process. So there the particles of one type of matter get next type of matter. So they are intermixing together. So one type of matter particle intermixed with the next type of particles of matter on their own. So such a process called diffusion process. And this diffusion process is happening in the case of gases and liquids. Gas and liquids. And the first case, the smell of incense stick reaches the next room very fast. Why? Because they are continuously moving at the same time. One more reason is there. Kinetic energy. Or simply it is K. In the first case, there is increase in temperature. As the temperature increases, their K also increases. So then the particles will move very fast. Particles move very fast because of the high kinetic energy. So that's all about diffusion process. The first property of matter particle was what? There exists space between them. Secondly, all the particles are continuously moving from one place to another. And finally, the diffusion process. There you have to study one more property, that is these particles are, or there exists a force of attraction between the particles. Force of attraction between the particles. Now you have to look the activity 1.7. or better 1.8. Now, listen. You can wave your hands in air medium very easily. You can wave your hands. But it's not so easy to wave your hands in a water medium. Why? In air medium, there are gas particles. In water, there is a liquid water particles. But in air, you can easily wave your hands, but not in water medium. The force of attraction between the particles in air is very less in amount because most of the particles are placed far apart. But in the case of water particles, there exists some space, but the force of attraction between the particles are somewhat high. So then you have to apply more force to break the force of attraction between the particles in water medium. So it is not so easy to wave your hands in water medium, but it's very easy to move your hands in air medium because of the force of attraction between the particles. Okay. So that's all about today's class. Thank you.